I can't believe I'm filming this at an appropriate time of day. So, you're so welcome. Hi, hello, welcome back to my channel if you're new here. Sup? My name is Elmo. Today, we are revisiting my 2024 reading goals. Let's do it. So last year, I set myself the, at the time, ambitious goal of reading 10 books in the year. I read 40, so GG me. I did, however, list out 10 specific titles that I wanted to try out last year. The first 5 were my priority reads. These were books I desperately wanted to finish. The first of which was I'm Glad My Mum Died by Jeanette McCurdy. I did finish this book. It was very depressing, but very witty and very insightful into not only the kind of world of media stardom, but also shed light on a lot of abusive relationships, familial, romantic, and professional. I thought it did well to show that the environment around you can feed into itself. And I think particularly with something like the entertainment industry and the whole concept of child stardom, it's very difficult to advocate for yourself in that scenario. But I think Jeanette has done a really good job in this memoir, in this biography, to reflect on what was happening around her, because the adults around her did not always have her best interests at heart. I really enjoyed is not the right word. I never know how to word it, which is ironic because I'm a writer. I think the insight Jeanette gave was very meaningful, and it was a very meaningful read for me. And yeah, I read the print version, but she does narrate an audiobook version, which I've heard snippets of and heard good things about. The next book that I wanted to read last year was Brave New World by Aldous Huxley, and I did. I read that one as well. I finished it during my abandoned books video. I'm undecided if I should reread it. I don't know. The ending, oh my god. I enjoyed it as a dystopia. I enjoyed the themes of utopia and the idea that a utopic society being reliant on really sinister things was extremely interesting. I have reflected on that book a lot after I've read it. I don't get how the world worked in said utopia, because everyone just does drugs and like goes to orgies. Like, that's the world. That's what people do. Very few people have jobs other than like the slave labor class, I guess. Really strange. Brave New World. Devastating ending. I really enjoyed the themes of colonialism that it incorporated and control to the highest degree. Like, you're literally, how you will be made genetically is chosen. Wild. Wild, insane. Flip side of that coin. This Fragile Earth by Susanna Wise. I think I also finished this in the Abandoned Books video. It was a very interesting premise. The idea of a technologically reliant society pissed me off a little bit. So I think the pacing of this book was off. It's the conclusion I've come to. The pacing, it was off. The kind of middle section or mid to end section just tapered off a lot. I think as well, narratively, they skipped chunks of time, which made it even worse because like they've made the whole book out to be like it's on a time crunch. Like, they need to find this person as soon as possible. They need to get to this place as soon as possible. They can't afford to stop and do whatever. Like, they have to keep moving. And then they get to the place and they do stop. And then it skips. There's time skips. And it's like, what? It really felt like the ending was setting up for a sequel. It did not feel like a finished story. I didn't like that. I'm fine with open endings and I'm fine with ambiguous endings, but the ending to this Fragile Earth did feel like it was setting up for something more. And like, after the lull of that middle part, to then set up and then end, what the fuck? Wasn't the happiest. And I did kind of feel like I'd wasted my energy worrying about these characters for the whole book, so that was not ideal. The fourth book on my priority list was Horns by Joe Hill. I haven't read it. I haven't read any number of pages in it since I said I wanted to read it. Maybe this will be the year. I am starting this year reading a 800-page book, so 400, far less intimidating now. So maybe this year will be the year, and I would like to read it. I think as well there's maybe room for more supernatural elements in my reading, so you know, maybe Horns will be the one, who knows. But I didn't get to it last year is the point. And then the fifth book on my priority list was purely because I borrowed it from someone and was like, I need to finish it and return it. I haven't read it. It was The Man Who Mistook His Wife for a Hat by Oliver Sacks. It was about bizarre neurological disorders, which, you know, previous special interest fuel, I feel like I know a decent amount. I'm considering just returning it without reading it. If the desire sparks to read it, I can borrow it from a library, or I can find a digital version somewhere. Like, it's, you know, I didn't read it and I don't really want to at the minute. I've got a bunch of other books to read. So those were my 5 priority reads. Read 3 of them. 2 of them are gone. Now you may be thinking, you said 10 books, where's the others? They're right here. So the extra 5 were ones that weren't necessarily priority reads, but they were ones I wanted to get to if I have the time. The first one was The Hunger Games. Absolutely, I read The Hunger Games. I've read Catching Fire and I am halfway through Mockingjay. I think Catching Fire was just as good as the first one. I'm a little hesitant about this third one. It might be a little too different from the others, but there's many similarities. I can't say whether it'll be as good or not. The Hunger Games, the first book, incredible. Absolutely incredible. I've got little flag tabs through it, little underlined bits. It was great. 5 stars. Catching Fire, also 5 stars. Probably one of my new favourite book series, and they will be ones that will stay on my shelves probably forever. I think Collins really does introduce these themes of power and control very well in a very easily understood way, and they are themes that I love to find in books. So perfect. Absolutely stunning. Well done, Suzanne. The second extra book I wanted to read was The Handmaid's Tale, which I did start in December. It will probably take me a while to get through because I picked up a pencil as soon as I read the first page and was like, this is going to take a while, just underlining so many things, making little annotations on the side. I have never interacted with the book or TV show before, so anything I know about it is through cultural osmosis. I have a feeling it's going to be up there with some of my favourite dystopias. You might see a battle of the books later this year, depending how it goes. There's a lot of biblical themes that I can see at the minute, and, you know, very blatant misogyny. There seems to be a bit of a very obvious kind of class divide as well. Interesting. So I've started it. I haven't read it yet, but I made a start, and it's hopefully going to be one for this year. So, PogChamp. The 4th one on my want to read list was Homer's Odyssey. I did start this as well. It is over on my desk somewhere. So much like The Handmaid's Tale, I started reading the Odyssey and immediately thought I need to make very in-depth notes about these. So I made a notebook on Notion and have done like chapter by chapter. My translation of the Odyssey is by Evie Ryu. There is another translation that I'm very interested in reading by Emily Wilson, purely because it's one of possibly the only one that's been translated by a woman. So a lot of the lexicon in the book is different and therefore changes the context of a lot of things. Once I read 25 books this year, hopefully I will have the Odyssey by Emily Wilson. The 4th book I wanted to read was Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. I started it and I got bored. It is an abandoned book as of right now. I don't know why it didn't hook me as quickly as Circe did, but I wasn't vibing with it as much as I hoped I would. Hopefully I will finish it this year and have better things to say. It's my plan to come back and finish it, but we'll have to see. Which brings us to the 5th and final book of my want to read list, which was Circe by Madeline Miller. 5 stars, absolutely loved it. Accurately marketed. As a feminist retelling, absolutely loved it. Loved every page. Would probably reread it. It was a great time. And I would recommend it if you haven't read it. So I think that was everything. Of my want to read list, I started at least everything. So those were my 2024 reading goals. I think I did pretty well. I think I did good. Considering I only read 5 books in 2023, hot damn, just a general note. I think last year was more a challenge to myself to see if I could enjoy reading again after academia killed that off. I'm happy to say I enjoy reading. It's a fun time. I can read an actual book and not want to do something else, which is great. This year, 2025, I want to try and be more perceptive in what I'm reading. I want to reflect more on it, and I want to think more about what I'm reading. So we'll try. We'll try that and see what happens. That's pretty much it. So I hope you're having a good start to your new year. I hope your books are going well. Thank you to those who commented what you were reading last time. Good stuff. If you have any recommendations from last year that you haven't had the chance to mention yet, feel free to leave them below. And I will see you when I see ya. See ya. There's so many ways I could title this video and I haven't decided yet. What the fuck was that noise? Okay, weird. Anyway. Okay, that's creeping me out a little bit. There's just a ghost in the corner, it's fine.